let's just turn our attention to this constant evolving situation in Maharashtra. Has Ajit Pawar been able to trump over Sharad Pawar? That's the key issue that we are looking at. Joining us now, Charan Singh Sapra of the Congress Party, Vishwas Pathak of the BJP at this stage. We'll be joined by representatives of the NCP, both those loyal to Sharad Pawar, those loyal to Ajit Pawar in a moment from now. But Vishwas Pathak, do you believe that on the basis of these numbers, it's game, set and match to Ajit Pawar, or do you still believe that Sharad Pawar, with the support of 17 MLAs and others who said that they will support him, is still very much in the game?
See, look at it, Vishnu. This government, under the leadership of Mr. Eknath, Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis, is quite stable, and we do not require any additional numbers for proving our majority. Now, this Ajit Pawar group, that is NCP-led group, they are supporting us to give us additional strength. And whatever is happening today, or it happened on Sunday, it is more of an internal matter. Who is their supremo and who is not? It is all to be decided by the court and Speaker of the House. As far as we are concerned, we welcome their support. We have inducted them with 9 members as their ministers, and with their experience, I think Maharashtra as a government will be benefited a lot.
Charan Singh Sapra, in a situation like this, is it just within the realm of possibility? Could we see Sharad Pawar led NCP merging with the Congress Party? Is that at all within the realm of speculation?
See, Vishnu, that only time will tell whether whatever speculation you are talking about will become true or not. But as far as the BJP spokesperson was talking now, I don't think so that this is more of an internal matter of NCP. It might be an internal matter of NCP also. But you know, the entire script was written by Shah and Shahenshah. They had written this script. And why they had written this script? Because they fear the kind of meeting which happened in Patna, the all-party meeting, and recently within a span of 6 months, they have lost 2 assembly elections, Himachal Pradesh and Karnataka. And Karnataka, they have lost miserably. So BJP very well knows that they were talking about themselves as a Majboot Sarkar, but it is not Majboot. It is a Majboor BJP, which is now, trying to divide the opposition. They are trying to use ED, IT, CBI as part of their electoral toolkit, to gain advantage in the entire electoral process. So actually the script has been written by Shah and Shahenshah.
No, that is all great sounding rhetoric, but the fact of the matter is that the BJP says that many years back it was the MVA which brought down their government. They had the maximum number of seats. So now you're saying that, in fact, it's the BJP which is at fault. Go ahead, sir. See,
Vishnu, what I'm trying to say, you see what is happening in the Shinde camp now. After these triple engine Sarkar, they never required a third engine. But still BJP wanted to do this. One, to teach a lesson to Sharad Pawar, and secondly, to make themselves more strong and to divide the opposition. But actually now what is happening, the Shinde camp MLAs are disturbed. They are speaking against Ajit Pawar. They have been always speaking against Ajit Pawar.
Okay.
They never wanted Ajit
Mr.
Pawar.
Sapra, half a second, because we've got Mahesh Tapse, Chief Spokesperson of the NCP, joining us as well at this stage. Mr. Tapse, are you willing to concede now that Ajit Pawar, with the support of 40 MLCs, MLAs and MPs, clearly has an edge over Sharad Pawar?
No, and first of all, good evening, Somji, and all panelists and all viewers. Let me tell you that today we had a fantastic meeting of the entire cadre. Unfortunately, 32 MLAs were with Ajit Dada. They were bundled in a bus and taken to some destination in suburban Mumbai. And if at all, my question here is, if at all they came and signed the petition or signed their allegiance to Ajit Dada out of their own free will, then why were they bundled? Why were they not allowed to roam freely? Like how those 19 MLAs which turned up at our meeting were freely mingling with the media, freely mingling with the cadre. So there's definitely a larger design.
So 32 MLAs versus 19 MLAs. That's the count at this stage.
This is what the media has been showing. This is what I've seen on
No,
various
but
channels.
in terms of your side, 19 MLAs is the support that you enjoy presently, right?
They had come. This is what the media reported.
But is it also not true that there were leaders who went to both the gatherings?
I'm sure, because Ajit Dada is a very well-respected leader. People look up to him as a second in command to Pawar Saab. And as being a leader, being one of the senior most members in the cabinet, the leader of the opposition, MLAs would definitely go to him. Every week MLAs used to meet him. So there is nothing wrong when this meeting of these MLAs was called on second.
But
so there is nothing to doubt.
But that's just my next question. On this meeting which was called 2 days prior to all of this happening, where Sharad Pawar was effectively removed from the top post. This is what they are actually saying now in their letter to the Election Commission. 40 MLAs, etc. They signed on. Do you believe that this gives the Ajit Pawar camp the legal protection to prevent a lengthy court battle?
I don't think there is any legal protection to Ajit Dada as far as signature of these MLAs is concerned. First of all, whether the MLAs knew that because with their signature, Ajit Dada is going to claim supremacy in the party. Did the legislators know? Secondly, what comes first? Whether the legislative party comes first or the political party first. As far as my understanding is there, the political party comes first. And once the MLAs are elected, or Jilla Parishad members are elected, or parliamentarians are elected, the parliamentary party or the legislature party will come second.
Okay. I just want to go across just half a second to...
I've never seen an instance where elected representatives of the legislature are appointing the national president. What is mentioned in the letter given to the Election Commission of India. As far as appointment of the state president and the national president is concerned, or the district president, taluka president, there's a proper collegium. The appointment of a state president happens in a collegium where elected members of the party coming from
what happens if he loses the trust of the large number of supporters within the party? That numerically that appears to be the case.
Process of election. Then there has to be a democratic process of election. In this case, there has been no election. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, Maheshji, just half a sec. Dr. Anu Patil, who's with the Ajit Pawar side, joins us now. Dr. Patil, you don't have, on the basis, it appears, you don't have the 2/3 number. Even if, given the support that we've seen on display today, is that not something which potentially brings you up for anti-defection proceedings?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now, Dr. Patil?
Hello.
Sorry, you can't get through to her at this stage. But Mahesh, I interrupted you there. In fact, my question would be similar to you. 2/3 majority is not there with the Ajit side right now. Is that the argument that you're going to bank on as you approach the Election Commission or the courts?
No. First of all, like I said, did the legislators know that their signatures were used to send a letter to the election office proclaiming Ajit Dada as the party president of the NCP? I am very certain that legislators did not know this. They would have said, okay, because he's the leader of the opposition and for various reasons signatures are obtained. Sometimes for people who vote against the government, sometimes for a bill. So it's very common practice to take the signature of the legislative. Nobody knew. Let me tell you this. Nobody knew. And again, the Election Commission has to decide. I think in the orders in Mr. Thackeray's case, it is very clear. The legislative party does not rule the political party. The political party gives birth to the legislative party in any state assembly or the parliament of the country. So the political party holds supreme than the legislative party. So in this case, taking signature of the 41 MLAs, submitting a letter to the Election Commission will not give him the edge to proclaim himself as the president of the NCP. I'm sure there are...
So let's see what finally happens over there. But let me just go across to Vishwas Pathak. Vishwasji, Sharad Pawar said in the past, and this is a quote of his, in the past I had 68 MLAs. When I went out for some time, 62 left us. I had just 6. In the election, out of 62, only 4 could come back. But we won with new faces. The fact of the matter is you might have the numbers with Ajit Pawar's support now, but the groundswell that Sharad Pawar may very well enjoy could actually work against you next year. I mean, that's the argument which his supporters in the Congress would actually make. How would you respond?
No, we are not worried about what will happen there. See, as far as Mr. Sharad Pawar is concerned, he has been in the politics of Maharashtra for more than 4 decades. Despite of that, he has never reached a number beyond 70. As against that, this Kejriwal or Mamta, Lalita, everyone, they have got their governments at their own. That is what exactly Mr. Ajit Dada Pawar said. Now, I want to bring 2 points to your notice. My friend Tapasi was talking about a lot of legislative interpretations and all that thing in democratic process. 8 days back, Mr. Pawar, through one-liner, appointed this Praful Patel as working president, national working president, and Supriya Sule as the national working president, just by one-liner. So all this dynastic politics, they don't believe into democracy. They don't have any rule and procedure to be followed. Same Mr. Pawar in 1978 betrayed his own guru, that is Vasantdada Patil, and came out and formed a government. Thereafter, again, he joined Congress, left out. So he has a track record of no any credibility. And because of that, Mr. Pawar, this younger Pawar, he felt that there has to be some consistency in thought. In 2017, Mr. Pawar said, BJP, we should go with BJP, not with Shiv Sena. Suddenly he said we should go with Shiv Sena, not with BJP. So this kind of tentative approach by Mr. Pawar has been ruled out by this Ajit Dada Pawar. And now what is happening with Ajit Pawar? Entire NCP is with him for simple reason that Mr. Pawar was not having any democratic setup within his party. Now I'll come to Mr. Sapra's point. The very script has been written by Congress Party. The very reason of split in NCP's Congress Party, because nobody wanted Rahul Gandhi to be the leader of the opposition. And
Okay,
Mr.
so
Pawar,
let's give the Congress a chance to respond as well. Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi joins us now, senior Congress leader, MP, well-known jurist. Thanks very much for being with us. You know, it is a speculative question, but I think in the situation you'll appreciate it, Dr. Singhvi. You know, with the BJP having sort of taken over the Ajit Pawar camp in a sense, is there a possibility of the Congress, reaching out to Sharad Pawar and perhaps strengthening your own position by having him within the Congress, him and his sizable number of supporters?
Look, Vishnu, just give me a second. I think, can you see me and hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
You have, in one particular word you used, answered your question yourself. This BJP is now becoming a takeover party. It doesn't form the government in Goa, it takes over something. It does it in Northeast, does it in Karnataka, does it in Madhya Pradesh. Now, this is like first building something without a building sanction, making 2 floors without a building sanction, without occupancy certificate, calling it double engine, occupying it with a judgment which held against them on all counts except one. And then building a 3rd floor, an already illegal building, and calling it a 3-engine sarkar. So this is taking over existing groups, is the BJP style. I think that's very important.
No, but you're not answering my question, Dr. Singh.
About us, your question has to be contextually seen. I don't think the Congress is in a takeover mode. The Congress is in a very firm alliance, which is the MVA. Mr. Sharad Pawar is a pillar of that. We have no takeover, as you call it, intentions or aspirations.
No, let's change that word takeover. Is there a possible of some sort of a merger? What if Sharad Pawar and the other leaders were to approach the Congress, and purely from a tactical standpoint ahead of the elections, if you have a stronger single entity, then would that not potentially be something you'd look at?
I think that is not the need of the hour. I don't think it's at all relevant even. I think it's a very peripheral issue. See, the MVA today, as it exists, even minus Ajit Pawar, is a very strong alliance. Now, the fact that you are having problems with certain people with Mr. Ajit Pawar doesn't mean that we have to coalesce into one party. I mean, there are their own internal the internal contradictions you see in a khichdi combination of the Shiv Sena, Shinde faction, the BJP, and now Mr. Ajit Pawar. Is that the kind of union you want? A union of incompatibles, and already there are murmurings, very strong murmurs of dissent. We have our independent identity in the MPA. And I think the important thing is to fight unitedly, see the sympathy overflowing, and deal with it legally, because there are several legal illegalities. This oath is unconstitutional. This whole sarkar in that sense is unconstitutional. But we understand that courts take time to decide. But it is much better to concentrate on those issues than to concentrate on trying and merging things into a uneatable khichdi, or into a situation where everybody start fighting each other within that merger.
Fair point, but would you concede that Ajit Pawar has got the better of Sharad Pawar with the support base that he enjoys. I mean, it's
Hardly.
between 32 and 42 MLAs, 32 and 40 MLAs versus 17 to 19 at this stage.
Vishnu, that's an extremely superficial way of looking at support. You know, by any legal test, and we'll be coming to those stages later, the party is not 32 MLAs. Even the official symbol under the law is to be given by the Election Commission by looking at a party. The party includes a much larger entity from the top right down to the tehsil, to the office bearers, intermediate and district and state level. That's even forgetting everything else, the legal test. So in effect, what Mr. Ajit Pawar is doing is a self-congratulatory pat on the back by having some group of MLAs gone. That is not the party. You know, in the last judgment we succeeded in, I'll give you a simple example. If this is the party, suppose the lakhs of people are with Mr. Sharad Pawar, even his worst enemies today would concede that the tallest figure in Maharashtra politics, cutting across lines, is Mr. Sharad Pawar. Suppose the Sharad Pawar group as a party was to give a whip under a judgment which is hardly 6 months old, that is binding on the legislative group. So just to have 34 and start dancing with joy is not the party.
But tell me one thing, sir.
We understand, one second more. We understand that the BJP functions on the process being the punishment. They realize that ultimately this is all wrong. But they know that last time it took 1 year to declare the Shiv Sena episode wrong in 9 out of 10 counts in that judgment. So they are again banking on the fact that this will again take time. The fact that it will take time does not rob it of its basic illegality.
No, it doesn't. But assuming that conclusion of yours is correct, but just from a legal standpoint, we are now told that the NCP removed Sharad Pawar from the post that, you know, of party chief 2 days before the coup, as it were. And then there was this letter of support from 40 MLAs, MLCs and MPs, etc., etc. Is that something that protects Ajit Pawar from anti-defection?
I think these are all, very cheap tricks of the trade, thinking that the law is an ass and let us make a bigger ass of it. I find it very amusing that all the events, I was abroad, I came back on Sunday, all the events take place on Sunday or rather Monday. And we today have, and I'm not sure what is the official website, so I may be wrong, I hope I'm wrong, the EC telling you that Mr. Ajit Pawar's faction filed a complaint on 30th.
The Election Commission has apparently been informed that an election was has taken, that Sharad Pawar was removed from the top post of the party, right, 2 days before the coup, before the mutiny, is what they are informed, and
now,
that there is this letter with this sort of support.
Election Commission, so the point number one, we are now suddenly told that there is now, whether it's backdating, anti-dating, I don't know, these will all be seen in the fullness of time. We are told that something happened on 30th, whereas all our television channels saw Mr. Ajit Pawar declaring as late as Monday and Sunday that Mr. Sharad Pawar is our leader. Your television channels have captured it.
No, but that he is still saying. In fact, when I interviewed Praful Patel yesterday, he says, I don't want to say a word about Sharad Pawar. He is our our foremost leader, etc., etc. They want Sharad Pawar to buy into what it is that they're doing. He's not willing to do that.
It's very easy to say these things. He's your foremost leader, and you removed him, and you've told the EC on 30th, which nobody knows on 2nd and 3rd, and the EC of all people takes 5 days, today 5th, to inform you. Why was the EC strategically silent?
No.
These are all... I can tell you there are lots of issues arising here. It's not so simple. There are lots of hanky-panky things going on. But my point is a basic point. Politically, I think this exposes, even many of your channels say that as of today, the sympathy, the support, if an election were held today, is clearly with the, if I may use the word, MVA.
Okay.
Now, possibly this is done for that purpose.
No, but again, another legal question to you. And I know you have problems with this letters of support or signatures, etc., etc. But just bear with me for a moment. Sharad Pawar with 17 to 19 MLAs supporting him, it's not an insignificant number. And if this is an indicator of support, then wouldn't the Ajit Pawar camp fall short of the two-thirds number that they need to avoid anti-defection proceedings?
They are trying to avoid anti-defection proceeding by one simple technique. The speaker will decide the matter by not deciding. It's very simple to avoid anti-defection. Last time we were at 2.5 months of the Shiv Sena episode, And yesterday, a petition has been filed in the Supreme Court to direct the Speaker to avoid. I told you, the BJP and its allies rely on process being the punishment.
Yeah.
So something by not deciding is also a decision.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have the same thing here. Mr. Narvekar, who otherwise is a very intelligent person and a very dynamic person, takes 2.5 months to not even take step one in the Shiv Sena disqualification. I'm sure he will try and take 2.5 years in this one. So I don't think, that is the issue. Ultimately, we'll have to go to court. The Manipur speaker got strictures from the Supreme Court for sitting on and not deciding petitions. I'm sure a stage will come, but that unfortunately takes time. And we can't take the law into our own hands as the BJP seems to be doing everything.
Okay, so Dr. Singhvi, let me ask you about the larger issue. How does this affect or potentially affect opposition unity in the country?
I think on the contrary, it gives a fillip and a push to opposition unity. I have a different view. People are saying that, this actually dilutes. One of the objects given for this is to make sure that opposition unity doesn't survive. On the contrary, people realize that they have to be more united together. They have to stand more stronger together. They realize that each of their own regional strongholds and their own backyards are under danger, not by democratic means, but by poaching, by inducements. You criticize, abuse with the worst kind of vituperative language, and tomorrow you are sleeping bedfellows with them. Each of the 9 people, we know what things were said about corruption by Mr. Modi himself about these people. So I think this is actually leading to a greater sense of unity, a greater sense of urgency to unite. And I don't agree with this notion that just because you break away 9 people or 10 people or 30 people, this is a great deterrence to unity.
Okay. Dr. Singhvi, thanks very much for being with us and sharing, that perspective. Thanks very much indeed. I want to, just go back to Vishwas Pathak for a couple of his reactions to this. Mr. Pathak, the key point that Dr. Singhvi mentions is that legally this is untenable and that the best defense you have is time, that it will take time, but ultimately it will be overthrown. How would you respond?
Dr. Singhvi, with due respect, is missing certain things. Like, this is the case wherein they were supposed to go to the governor of Maharashtra, wherein 42 MLAs was making important point. See, it is not election commission wherein you have to give other evidences. See, with Mr. Ajit Pawar, there are majority of the state district presidents also and entire parties there. So Mr. Singhvi is ignoring that. Mr. Singhvi is also ignoring one fact that in 1978, when Mr. Pawar broke away and went away, was not that time EC was present, and same arguments were applicable at that time also. Whether the party remained with Vasantdada party or with Sharad Pawar, these all are issues there. Therefore, Mr. Singhvi was making arguments very conveniently, and I know that what is going to happen in court. In court, Ajit Pawar has having good number of chances in his favor.
Mr. Pathak, the other point that he mentioned is that, look, it's going to go ultimately to the speaker and the speaker will not decide. And therefore, you will buy time.
I don't think so. Speaker is also bound by his own duties. He has also got his own role. And I think this speaker is very dynamic. He will come out with a proper decision. He has been saying also on record that very shortly he is going to come out and going to give justice to the whole system.
Okay. Mahesh Tapsi, what is Sharad Pawar's next step going to be? I mean, we've had this show of support, etc., but politically, what is he going to do to try and consolidate, or is that difficult at this stage?
Well, Mr. Pawar is traveling into Delhi tomorrow morning, and he's called a meeting of all his national office bearers in Delhi tomorrow. And I think on 8th he's starting this tour, first going to Nasik and probably Jalgaon. And see, I think when this thing came to light on 2nd itself, Mr. Pawar said that I am going to go into the People's Court. I am going to start roaming Maharashtra, start touring Maharashtra, go and meet our political karyakartas and see to it that the party flock stays intact. We have got just about 6-7 months into the Lok Sabha. We have the Jila Parishad, the Code of Conduct coming in. Probably February, the Code of Conduct for the Lok Sabha might also set in. So I don't know how much time does this government has. Secondly, the biggest question is, now I want to question my friend Pathak ji, is a very dear friend of mine. The Shinde, Eknath Shinde said that the NCP does not allow Shiv Sena to function. He parroted the same things what Ajit Dada said today. Last year, Shinde Saab said the same things. Today, when his own MLAs are saying that they were taken by surprise that BJP roped in Ajit Pawar into the cabinet, I think this was a statement made by Bachchu Kadu today in somewhere in Maharashtra. So this is something that where the Shinde group MLAs feel defeated.
No, I think that's an important point.
cheated
In fact,
by
Mr.
the
Pathak,
BJP.
would you like to respond to that? And this is the key point, that there is no love lost between the Shinde group and Ajit Pawar and his group. I mean, they were fighting like cats, just a couple of days back. So therefore, in a situation like this, how easy is it going to be to function all together? And if you're going to the next elections together, then you'll have to get into seat sharing and all of that. Is that going to happen?
See, what Mahesh said is rightly correct. It is correct. See, in that time when this NCP and Shiv Sena were having a government together, that time Shiv Sena MLAs were grumbling about NCP's way of functioning. But that time the controlling person was Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, Chief Minister of Maharashtra, who was operating from home. This time Eknath Shinde is a very strong Chief Minister, and he is also assisted by a very able Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis. So I don't think there will be any issue. There will be proper distribution of power. Everybody will get justice, and that situation will not arise. As far as our three parties are concerned now, with 105 odd MLAs, BJP is settling at 9 and 10 seats. With 40 odd MLAs of Eknath Shinde, they are settling at 9-10 berths of the ministers. So similarly, this new entrant will also settle at the same thing. I think there will be absolutely no problem. There
All
will
right.
be
So,
good
so
governance.
the BJP says there'll be no problem in accommodating their new alliance partners. Let's see what finally happens.